Jeremiah chapter 39. Judgment on Zedekiah in Jerusalem. Now when Jerusalem was captured in the 9th year of King Zedekiah of Judah in the 10th month, King Nebuchadrezzar of Babylon and all his army advanced against Jerusalem and besieged it. On the 3rd day of the 4th month of the 11th year of Zedekiah, the city's wall was broken through. Then all the officials of the king of Babylon came in and sat in the middle gate. Nergal-Sarezer, Samgar-Nebo, Sarshem, the Rabsaris, Nergal-Sarezer, the Rabmag, and all the rest of the officials of Babylon's king. Now when King Zedekiah of Judah and all the men of the war saw them, they fled, then went out of the city at night by the way of the king's garden, the gate between the two walls heading out toward the way of Arabah. But the Chaldean army pursued them and overtook Zedekiah in the plains of Jericho. When they captured him, they brought him up to King Nebuchadrezzar of Babylon at Riblah in the land of Hamath, where he passed judgment on him. The king of Babylon slew the sons of Zedekiah in Riblah before his eyes. Moreover, the king of Babylon slew all the nobles of Judah. Then he blinded Zedekiah's eyes, and he bound him in shackles to carry him off to Babylon. And the Chaldeans burned the king's palace and the house of the people with fire, and broke down the walls of Jerusalem. Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, carried away into exile the rest of the people, those who remained in the city, and also the deserters who had defected to him, and the rest of the people remaining. But Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, left some of the poorest of the people who had nothing behind the land of Judah, and gave them vineyards and fields in that day. Vindication of Jeremiah. Now King Nebuchadrezzar of Babylon gave orders about Jeremiah to Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, saying, "Take him and look after him, and do no harm to him, rather do to him just as he tells you." So Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, sent word. So Nebuchadnezzar, the Rabsaris, chief officers of the king of the Rabsaris, Nergal-Sarezer, the Rabmag, and the chief officers of the king of Babylon, sent and brought Jeremiah out of the guard's courtyard and gave to him Gedaliah, son of Ahikam, son of Shaphan, to take him home. So he dwelt among the people. Now the word of Adonai came to Jeremiah while he was shut up in the guard's courtyard, saying, "Go, speak to Eved-Melech the Ethiopian, saying, Thus says Adonai Zavat, the God of Israel. Listen, I will bring about my words into the city for evil and not for good. They will happen before you in that day, but I will deliver you in that day. It is a declaration of Adonai, and you will not be given into the hand of the men whom you dread. For I will surely rescue you, so you will not fall by the sword, but you will keep my life as spoils, because you put your trust in me. It is a declaration of Adonai." Jeremiah chapter 40. Jeremiah returns to Judah. The word which came to Jeremiah from Adonai after Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, had released him from Ramah. He had taken him bound in chains among all the captives of Jerusalem and Judah who were being exiled to Babylon. Now the captain of the guard had taken Jeremiah and said to him, "Adonai your God pronounced this evil against this place, and Adonai brought it about and did just as he said. Because you have sinned against Adonai and have not listened to his voice, this thing has happened to you. But now behold, I am freeing you this day from the chains that are once in your hand. If it is good in your eyes to come with me to Babylon, come, and I will look after you. But if it is evil in your eyes to come with me to Babylon, stop. Look, the whole land is before you. Wherever it seems good and right to you to go, there go." But he would not turn back. "Go back then to Gedaliah, son of Ahikam, son of Shaphan, whom the king of Babylon has made governor over the cities of Judah, and dwell with him among the people, or go anywhere it seems right in your eyes to go." Then the captain of the guard gave him a ration and a gift, and let him go. So Jeremiah went to the son of Ahikam to Mizpah, and dwelt with him among the people that were left in the land. Gedaliah appointed governor. Now all the commanders of the forces that were in the field, they and their men, heard that the king of Babylon had appointed Gedaliah, son of Ahikam, over the land, and had put him in charge of the men and women and children, the poorest of the land, who were not carried away captive to Babylon. So they came to Gedaliah at Mizpah, including Ishmael, son of Nethaniah, Johanan and Jonathan, sons of Koreah, Seraiah, the son of Tanhumeth, the son of Ephi, the Netophathite, and Jezaniah, son of the Maacathite, they and their men. Then Gedaliah, son of Ahikam, son of Shaphan, swore to them and their men, saying, "Do not be afraid to serve the Chaldeans. Stay in the land and serve the king of Babylon, and it will go well for you. As for me, I will dwell at Mizpah to stand before the Chaldeans who come to us. But as for you, gather wine, summer fruit, and oil, and put them in your jars, and dwell in your cities that you have taken over." Also, when the Jews who were in Moab among Ammon's children, in Edom and in the other countries, heard that the king of Babylon had left a remnant of Judah, that he had appointed them over Gedaliah, son of Ahikam, son of Shaphan, and then all the Jews returned out of the places where they had been driven and came back to the land of Judah to Gedaliah at Mizpah and gathered wine and summer fruit in great abundance. Then Johanan, son of Kareah, and all of the commanders of the forces that were in the field came to Gedaliah to Mizpah and said to him, "Are you aware that Baalis, the king of Ammon's children, has sent Ishmael, son of Nethaniah, to take your life?" But Gedaliah, son of Ahikam, did not believe them. Then Johanan, son of Kareah, spoke privately to Gedaliah at Mizpah, saying, "Let me go now, and I will slay Ishmael, son of Nethaniah, and no one will know it. Why should he take your life, so that all the Jews are gathered to you would be scattered, and the remnant of Judah perish?" But Gedaliah, son of Ahikam, said to Johanan, son of Kareah, Don't do this thing, for what you're saying is about Ishmael is a lie." Jeremiah chapter 41, Gedaliah assassinated. Now it was in the 7th month that Ishmael, son of Nethaniah, son of Elishama, royal descent, and one of the chief officers of the king, along with 10 men, came to Gedaliah, son of Ahikam, to Mizpah. While they were eating bread there together in Mizpah, Ishmael, son of Nethaniah, rose up with the 10 men that were with him, and struck down Gedaliah, son of Ahikam, son of Shaphan, with the sword, putting to death each one whom the king of Babylon had appointed over the land. Ishmael also slew all the Jews who were with Gedaliah at Mizpah, as well as all the Chaldean soldiers who were found there. Now it was the next day after he had slain Gedaliah, when no one knew about it, that 80 men came from Shechem, from Shiloh, and far from Samaria, with their beards shaved off, their clothes rent, and having gashed themselves with grain and offerings and frankincense in their hand to bring to the house of Adonai. So Ishmael, son of Nethaniah, went out from Mizpah to meet them, weeping all along as he went, and he came to meet them. He said to them, "Come to Gedaliah, son of Ahikam." Yet it was that as soon as they came within of the city, that Ishmael, son of Nethaniah, and the men with him slaughtered within them the cistern pit. However, 10 men were found among them that said to Ishmael, "Don't kill us, for we have hidden stores in the field, wheat, barley, oil, and honey." So he held off and did not kill them along with their companions. So the cistern where Ishmael cast all the corpses of the men whom he killed, because they were on Gedaliah's side, was the one which King Asa had made for fear of King Baasa of Israel. Ishmael, son of Nethaniah, filled it with the slain. Then Ishmael carried away captive all the rest of the people that were in Mizpah, including the king's daughters, all the people who were left in Mizpah, over Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, who had put him under the charge of Gedaliah, son of Ahikam. Ishmael, son of Nethaniah, carried them captive and set off to cross over Ammon's children. But Johanan, son of Kareah, and all the commanders of the forces that were with him heard about all the evil that Ishmael, son of Nethaniah had done. So they took all the men and went to fight with Ishmael, son of Nethaniah, and found him by the great pool in Gibeon. Now when all the people who were with Ishmael saw Johanan, son of Kareah, and all the commanders of the forces that were with him, they were glad. So all the people that Ishmael had carried away captive from Mizpah turned around and came back and went over to Johanan, son of Kareah. But Ishmael, son of Nethaniah, escaped from Johanan with 8 men and went to Ammon's children. Then Johanan, son of Kareah, and all the commanders of the forces that were with him took all the remnant of the people whom he had rescued from Ishmael, son of Nethaniah, from Mizpah, after he had murdered Gedaliah, son of Ahikam, the men, the soldiers, women, children, and the court officials whom he had brought back from Gibeon, and they left and stayed at Chimhon's lodge, which is near Bethlehem, in order to go on to enter Egypt, away from the Chaldeans, for they were afraid of them, since Ishmael, son of Nethaniah, had killed Gedaliah, son of Ahikam, who the king of Babylon had appointed over the land. Jeremiah chapter 42. Warning against flight to Egypt. Then all the commanders of the force of Johanan, son of Kareah, Jezaniah, son of Hoshaiah, and all the people from the least to the greatest approached and said to the prophet Jeremiah, "Please let our petition be presented before you, and pray to Adonai our God on our behalf. For all this remnant from we who are left are but a few out of many, as you are seeing with your own eyes, that Adonai your God may tell us the way we should go and what we should do." Then Jeremiah the prophet said to them, "I have heard you, agreed. I will pray to Adonai your God according to your words, and it will be that every word Adonai will answer you, I will declare it to you. I will not keep a word from you." Then they said to Jeremiah, "Let Adonai be true and faithful witness against us if we do not act in accord with every word that Adonai your God sends to us. Whether it be good or evil, we will obey the voice of Adonai our God, to whom we are sending you, so that it may go well with us when we obey the voice of Adonai our God." And that was at the end of the 10 days that the word of Adonai came to Jeremiah. Then he called Johanan, son of Kareah, and all the commanders of the forces that were with him, and all the people from the least to the greatest, and said to them, "Thus says Adonai, the God of Israel, to whom you sent me to present your supplication before him. If you will still stay up in the land, then I will build you up and not tear you down, and I will plant you and not uproot you. For I will relent concerning the calamity that I have done to you. Do not be afraid of the king of Babylon, whom you dread. Do not be afraid of him. It is a declaration of Adonai. For I am with you to save you and deliver you from his hand. I will also show you compassion, and he will have compassion on you and restore you to your own soil. But if you say, we will not stay in this land, so that you do not obey the voice of Adonai your God, saying, no, instead we will go into the land of Egypt, where we will see no war, hear no sound of a shofar, or hunger for food, and live there. Now therefore the word of Adonai, O remnant of Judah, thus says Adonai Zavat, the God of Israel, if you really set your faces to enter Egypt and go to sojourn there, then it will come to pass that the sword which you fear will overtake you there in the land of Egypt, and the famine about which you are anxious will follow hard after you there in Egypt, and there you will die. So it will be for all the people who set their faces to enter Egypt to sojourn there, and they will die by the sword, by famine, and by plague, so none of them will remain or escape from the calamity that I will bring on them. For thus says Adonai Zavat, the God of Israel, as my anger and my fury were poured out on the inhabitants of Jerusalem, so will my fury be poured out on you. If you will enter Egypt, you will be an execration, a horror, a curse, and a disgrace, and you will never see this place again. Adonai has spoken concerning you, O remnant of Judah. Do not go to Egypt. Know for sure that I have forewarned you to this day, for you have led your own souls in error, since it was you who sent me to Adonai your God, saying, pray to Adonai our God on our behalf, and in accord with all that Adonai our God will say, so declare to us, and we will do it. So I have this day to declare it to you, but you will not obey the voice of Adonai your God in anything for which he has sent me to you. Now, therefore, know for sure that you will die by the sword, by famine, and by plague in the place whither you desire to go sojourn there. Jeremiah 43, Chaldeans invade Egypt. But when Jeremiah had made an end of telling all the people all the words of Adonai their God, all these words for which Adonai their God had sent to them, then Azariah, son of Hoshea, Johanan, son of Kareah, and all the insolent men responded, saying to Jeremiah, you are telling a lie. Adonai our God has not sent you to say, you must not go to Egypt to sojourn there. Rather, Baruch, son of Neriah, is inciting you against us to give us over to the land of the Chaldeans, so that they may put us to death or carry us away as captives to Babylon. So Johanan, son of Kareah, and all the commanders of the forces and all the people did not obey the voice of Adonai to stay in the land of Judah. But Johanan, son of Kareah, and all the commanders of the forces took the entire remnant of Judah, who had returned from all the nations where they had been driven to dwell in the land of Judah, the men, the women, the children, the king's daughters, everyone that Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, had left with Gedaliah, son of Ahikam, son of Shaphan, as well as Jeremiah the prophet, and Baruch, son of Neriah, and they went in the land of Egypt, for they did not obey the voice of Adonai. When they arrived at Tahpanhes, the word of Adonai came to Jeremiah in Tahpanhes, saying, take some large stone in your hand and hide them in the mortar and the brickwork at the entrance of Pharaoh's palace in Tahpanhes, in the sight of the men of Judah. Then say to them, thus says Adonai Zavat, the God of Israel, I am about to send for and bring Nebuchadrezzar, king of Babylon, my servant, and I will set his throne over these stones where I have hid, and he will spread his royal pavilion over them. Yes, he will come and will strike the land of Egypt, those for death to death, those for exile to exile, those for the sword to the sword. I will also set fire to the house of Egypt's gods. He will burn them and carry them off. He will wrap himself up with the land of Egypt as a shepherd wraps himself with his garment. And then he will depart from there victoriously. He will also shatter the pillars of the temple of the sun in the land of Egypt, while the houses of the gods of Egypt he will burn with fire.